Thank you, Lori. This is so exciting. Oops, oh there, okay. I would like to introduce our speakers. I was looking for Ron Ead and I saw Becky Hill, and that's because Ron Ead is not with us tonight, but we have Becky Hill, the board president. Limestone does solutions journalism, which is a really interesting way of doing journalism. They seek out problems in the community and then find solutions for those problems. And Becky's particular emphasis is health and science. We have Henry Leck, who's the president of the Arts Alliance of Greater Bloomington and a fabulous painter. We have Rodney Margison, the managing editor of the wonderful Bloom magazine, which is just about ready to come out with a new edition, I think any day now, right, Rodney?
A week from today, I believe.
A week from today. And Rodney's also a really, really good photographer. And then we have me. I'm Connie Shakalis, and I'm a freelance writer. And I would like to start with Henry, because today's part of the meeting is about how to get your project and event noticed by the media. Henry, would you like to talk? I think you're on mute, Henry.
First of all, I wanted to say sorry about that. Thank you for all being here. And this is a wonderful opportunity to try to coalesce some of the energy that goes on in our city. I've been frustrated in seeing so many silos going on and arts calendars and various kinds of communication. And I think Arts Forward may be an organization that can help mold that together. At least that's our desire. I want to speak just a little bit about the website, which is bloomingtonarts.org. I'm kind of new to the AAGB. I've been around for about a year and a half, but with the pandemic and all of that, the website crashed. And so we went into rebuilding it, and we've done that, and it's online. It has an arts directory, and it has an arts events calendar. It's not the only one in the city, but at least it's a start. I think it's version 1. And so what we're going through right now, in fact, I have next week meetings with Holly Warren and with Ed Comentali. We're trying to emulate a website that's similar to the one that the Arts Council of Indianapolis uses. And that it's full of resources, workshops, activities that are going on, an active arts calendar, and directory. To do that project is about $15,000, and I'm digging around trying to get that money put together, and we're ready pretty much to move forward with that. That will take about 3 months to develop, and it'll take intensive amount of interaction with the arts community in the city, because the problem we have right now with version 1, as many cities have, is that it doesn't have the amount of interaction with the community that it needs to have. And so part of the thing that we need to do with Arts Forward and with AAGB is start to get a directory that is meaningful and has a cross-sectional relationship between artists and between the artists and the community. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. Before we move on, though, to talk about the arts calendar, I just want to mention some of the activities. This is a really active city in the arts. For instance, there's a new organization called Arts for Climate Awareness. And that group is doing one workshop every month, and they're doing them at Ivy Tech. And what's kind of interesting, I know Kay did a project of various event locations. But what we found out is that Ivy Tech will give free space to a 501c3 if you want to do a workshop. So they were going to do workshops in our space, but they're actually doing them at Ivy Tech. Ivy Tech takes care of the registration, and the organization pays for the artist and all of that. So that's pretty exciting, but we are still very active. I have a list here, for instance. I noticed that between now and June 2nd, we have 9 workshops that are happening at the Flex space. We're doing 4 workshops for youth, and they are things like making friendship bracelets and doing perspective drawings, etc. And then on March 2nd and 10th, 2 different dates, Marianne Davis is coming down doing an oil painters workshop with also for gouache painters and for pastel artists. And then I booked Wyatt LeGrand, who's coming in to do an oil painters workshop on April 1st. And then Rena Brower, who's a well-known watercolorist from Delphi, is coming down to do a workshop on May 13th. And then Ann Woods is doing a workshop on June 3rd, which is paper tearing, etc. How much of that did you remember? None of it, because you don't need to. It's all on the arts event calendar. And it's easy to get on the calendar and to use it. So rather than take up more time, I want you to know a really, really special person. And her name is Xinyuan Zhang, and she's online, and she's the one that helped us build this website. And she's our webmaster, and she's going to help us go to the next level. By the way, I see Dina sitting there, and I don't mean to omit your work with climate awareness or conservation as well. That's a very exciting thing that we'll talk about later. And I did notice that now there are classes being offered at the Waldron through Constellation. So there are a lot of events going on. But a way to kind of get those all into the same place would be for us to use an arts event calendar. So I'm going to turn this over to Xinyuan and have her talk. She has a presentation on how easy it is to become proactively involved in an arts calendar.
Hi, everyone. This is Xinyuan speaking. I built the Arts Alliance website. It's still a work in progress because we're still trying to make it better. And our goal is to activate the arts community as much as we could. And today I'm going to share a little bit about the arts calendar. What is the arts calendar that we are now showing everyone, and we are going to share the benefits of that and how to use our arts events calendar. We'll have a step-by-step guide, and then I'll also inform everyone about what the other online existence the Arts Alliance have. So the first one is, what is our arts calendar? We have just shared the link to bloomingtonarts.org/calendar. This has been launched since last August, and we have an average monthly traffic of about 500 people. So that's unique visits. So about 500 people come to our website every month. So looking for things like events and the Arts Alliance. And we are an online platform, this calendar, that brings together local artists and organizations to share their events. We want to be this comprehensive list of arts-related events in the city so that people can find out what's happening. And this calendar is posted by the community members. It includes the artists, organizations, and art lovers. And it's being monitored right now by the Arts Alliance volunteers. That includes the webmaster. We have some, Alison also approves some of the events. And sometimes our volunteers at the Arts Alliance Center also does this. And this calendar, we built it based on Talkify, this platform. But to use it, you only need to go to bloomingtonarts.org. Some more information on this, when you click into, for example, this event, you will see this. And in this, the information included on an event are basic things like time, location, and link. It has introduction. Usually we would see people include what's the event about, the organizer, the cost, and contact. We have sometimes a key image. We could have more image if we need, and we will have tags of the event so that people can look for events of a certain category if they want. The users, they can of course browse by date, as we can see here in the calendar. You can select a month or date. You can also see search by keyword. You can also save and share an event. These are all the platforms that you can share on, whether it's email, website link, or share it, save it to your own calendar, or you can share it to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Of course, we can submit event, which I'm going to talk about later. So the benefits of using it for artists or organizations is to promote your events on our different platforms, and it can also help artists promote themselves. because we can, in addition to all those information on a specific event, we can have a link to a website, which could be the artist or the organization's personal or organizational website. And then it also keeps people to be in touch with the audience. So how to use the arts events calendar? And what we want to see people do as artists or organizations is to post information that interests your audience on a certain event to help them find you and make you stand out as soon as you have your time and venue. So we want to see an event posted once you have decided what's it about and you have an introduction, one key image, and one venue. Because we can always go back to edit it. It makes sense to have it posted as soon as you can, because more people are going to be able to see it, and you can post it on different platforms, give us time to market you better too. So to post it, you go to bloomingtonarts.org/calendar, you see this, and then click on the submit event. So on here, you will see a red button that says submit event. When you click it, you can see this form pop up. You fill in all the information and then includes the description, the venue, street address directions. So this address, fill in the address of the event instead of your personal address, because this will be something that's going to be shown on the event page. And then after you finish that, you click check and submit. So after you do this, you will receive an email through the email account that you leave here. And then we will also be notified. The Arts Alliance will monitor the calendar and approve appropriate events shortly. If you want to make some changes of the events, you can email us at info@bloomingtonarts.org, or you can just email web@ if you have some technical issues. So after you posted it, you can mark it as usually when you submit onto the Talkify calendar, Alison will also get a notification. She will be able to compose the newsletter, and on our social platforms, I'm sure she will talk in more details about this. You can also forward your event through all those, the event page onto your own social platforms. So this is a brief go through of our calendar page. Any questions right now? Anything about what you would like to know about the calendar or how to post? If you do not have any question right now, but you want to reach out, you can email me at web@bloomingtonarts.org.
So that's one of the ways we can communicate is through an arts event calendar. But I'd now like to turn it over to Alison, who's our editor of the newsletter, which goes out every other week. And this is a way for us to share arts events. And the nice thing is that our website and the newsletter are in communication with one another. So let's turn it over to Alison Kingsley.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. I have a stupid question for someone who might have missed it. But as an arts organization posting something on this calendar, and I thought I heard you say something about promoting events. So do you push things out that are pulled from the calendar? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I can go into that. So the calendar, and actually I'd love to share my screen because I'm a visual learner. So I feel like it'd be nice to entire screen. Let's see. Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yes, we do use the calendar to push events out. It's really nice because it basically lets you submit an event for us, and then it's like centralized, and then we can basically push it out everywhere that we push out content. So like Xinyuan said, to submit, and it's really easy. She did an awesome job making the website and making the calendar user friendly. But you go to events calendar and then you submit your event. From there, yes, it'll pop up on our calendar once it's approved, which we do to just make sure everything looks appropriate and that it's an event actually in Bloomington and that kind of thing. But from there, we would push it out as the date starts getting closer. So I send out the newsletter every other week, and I try to push out events that are upcoming so it's fresh in people's minds. And I can show you guys how to subscribe if you're interested in the newsletter, but it'll come to your email, like we said, every other week with just different events that have been submitted that are happening around town. I think I'll show you guys how to subscribe if you're interested, and then just show you the Facebook pages as well. So I'm on the Bloomington Arts website. Instead of going to calendar under events, you would click newsletter, and I'm already there, but I'm visual, so I wanted to show instead of just tell. And if you scroll to the bottom, it just gives you a place to put your name and your email address, and then you hit subscribe and you'll get those emails with our newsletter events. Cool. We also use the calendar to push out on Facebook. We use Instagram, Facebook, and we've got our Arts Alliance of Greater Bloomington page that we would basically push out your events or upcoming events. We do also have, I'm going to show you guys one more resource. We do also have a member page. I thought I had it opened. I think I looked up the Limestone Post on the one I had it opened. Arts Alliance, Greater Bloomington, and this one is a group. So the reason I want to show you the group is because you can also interact with this. It's not like we have to just post, so you can also communicate and post in here as well. And you do not have to be a member to participate in our group. So this is something, again, if you wanted to promote your own event, that you could post in here and we might share out on the Arts Alliance page. But also there are 400 people in this group, so you are getting like people seeing your event just from being on the Facebook. Sorry, I had stopped sharing. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of how we push the information out once y'all submit, or once anyone submits on our calendar app.
What platform was the group on?
Say it again, sorry.
What platform was that group on? Was that a Facebook group?
Yeah, it was a Facebook group. So if you look up Arts Alliance of Greater Bloomington, you'll see something that says Arts Alliance of Greater Bloomington group. And it is nice because anyone can post in it. So it's more like communal.
So are there any other questions for Alison? That's a really effective way to communicate, I think.
I just wanted to mention that on the top of the newsletter, in case you didn't notice it, it says Talkify. So if you click on the newsletter to submit something for the newsletter, it will automatically go to the calendar.
Right. And the one last thing I want to do before we turn it back over to Connie is to say that I think one of the ways to make a website or arts events or arts issues interactive is through blogging. And I am happy to tell you, Connie is the newest member of our board of the Arts Alliance of Greater Bloomington. And she is a fabulous writer, as you all know from seeing her Herald Times things, but she has started a blog. And if you go to our website and go to the blog post, there are already 3 fabulous articles. And you can interact with those articles and make comments, and there can be conversation. And I don't know if, Connie, you want to say any more about that, but I'm really excited. The stuff she's written has been fabulous.
Well, thanks. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad this is being recorded for all time. Thank you, Xinyuan. Yes, it's Xinyuan and I have been working on this website, and she's done such a great job. And Alison, you too. I mean, the two of you have made this so easy for people. And yeah, okay, we'll talk a little bit about the blog. The blog, well, how many of you are familiar with blogging? So, in order for a blog to work, it has to be added to frequently. Ideally, that would be a couple times a day. So I'm probably not going to do that. My goal right now is to do a couple times a week. So I think there are 5 up, and the 6th one is coming soon. And that one's on Stage Fright. And that one is a roundup, which is where you ask one question to a bunch of people. And this question was, how do you manage stage fright? So that's coming soon. And give me ideas for blogs. There's a million things we can blog about because this is Bloomington and there are so many artists here. So that's it for the blog. I will stop talking about it because, as my husband knows, I could talk forever about this blog. It's so much fun. Rodney Margison, managing editor of Bloom magazine and photographer, would you tell us something that you know about how we can get our projects out there?
All right, thank you. So unfortunately, about a year ago, we had to get rid of our online calendar. Our deputy editor that was handling all of our social media and all of our online activities left. We decided not to replace her right now. And so we kind of scaled back our website so we could focus our attention on our print magazine. So as far as an online calendar goes, that's no longer in existence. However, Bloom is a very arts forward publication. We, in fact, one of our 4 missions in our mission statement is to support local arts. And so covering the arts and lifting these events up is one of the things that's very important to us. So again, there's a downside. We come out every 2 months. So we have a very kind of goofy publication deadline schedule. We just last week finished the February-March issue, and this week started working on the April-May issue. And I will tell you that by the time we start working on an issue, we already have more story ideas and suggestions than we have space for. So your best bet is to kind of pick and choose what's the big thing that you want to promote, and to send that to us as soon as you can. Ideally, I want to say 10 weeks before that issue of the magazine's coming out, 8 weeks. So for the April issue, it'll come out the first week of April. If we have something between the beginning of January and the end of January for that issue, then it's going to get noticed, unless it's just really, really big. And I mean, I hate to say it, but everybody thinks their story should be on the cover. And we only have 6 covers a year. And so we kind of have to scale around what we do and where it can go. But we are always looking for great art stories. I think our arts and entertainment section is constantly our biggest section in the magazine. We've been averaging about 30 stories an issue, 35 stories an issue overall. And I think for the February-March issue, we started out with, I think, about 13 or 14 just in the arts and entertainment section. That got scaled back a little bit. We held some stories over, so I think we're going to end up with 9 or 10. But it's our largest section, and so we do enjoy covering the arts. And of course, the big stuff gets covered pretty much all the time: Constellation, things going on at the BCT, so forth. But we want to know about the lesser known things. We want to shed light on the arts community where other people aren't necessarily seeing it. And so that's what we're looking for. And the best way to get that to us is with your elevator pitch. something that we can read in 30 seconds and get a really good idea of what it is. The longer it is, the harder it is to kind of navigate and figure out if it's something we want to do. So short and sweet. And we have an editorial meeting before every issue, before we start making assignments, so that we can all kind of discuss which ones we think we want to do. And that's where those get presented. So that's pretty much how it would work for us.
Thanks, Rodney. Does anybody have a question for Rodney?
I have two questions, actually.
Sure.
So you were talking about, I think, pitchings. Is there a standard for what type of events or story would you be more interested in?
Not really. Just we like things that are unique. We like things that that are visual. Something that we can have some very catchy art, whether that's photos or artwork itself. We always do an artist feature every issue, at least one. Most of the time it's just one, but there have been a few times where we've done a couple. So we like to illustrate that with the artist's work. So anything, there's really no limit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So my second one is about, I know that the Arts Alliance was covered in a previous issue, but I was trying to look for it online. It's impossible to find it, but I don't read physical magazines.
So what we've done is every issue we post a flip book of that issue while it's out. And we're still trying to figure out the best way to present that as an archive. So and we're about a year behind on that. Fortunately, I have a very, very talented intern this semester from IU, and she has some savvy in that area. So one of the things that I've asked her to work on in the next couple of months is trying to get that section of our website up to speed, and to smooth some things out so that we can present those back issues in flipbook format, so that you can at least go in and find them that way.
Great. Looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rodney. Becky Hill, would you like to tell us about Limestone Post?
Sure. Henry, I was glad to hear that you mentioned the Indie Arts website. I lived in Indianapolis before I moved here, and I did a lot of arts volunteer work. I lived on the east side in Irvington, which is a historic district where there's a lot of really historic artists from Indiana that lived there. And I used that website a lot when I was doing that. So it was great to hear that you're cultivating your website like you are. At Limestone, we do have an event calendar. It's actually brand new. We just launched it. And we work with City Sparks on it, and they curate the events and stuff. We feature arts events, meetings, government meetings, those kind of things, with anything within a 25-mile radius. So we like to promote the smaller events that are happening within the community, because with IU Auditorium, they get a lot of promotional traffic and stuff. But for our website, we're looking for those like painting classes that you were talking about, Henry. That'd be a perfect place to promote it. So right now, it's easy. It's much like what your website is like, Arts Alliance is like. You can go on, you can submit an event, and then we just approve the event. And we have a history of approving all the arts events in the community. So we are doing that. It's just something that we started though, and so we're still in the mode where we're getting used to it and starting to promote it and that kind of thing. So if you're interested, please go online. I can screen share, I hope, what our calendar looks like. So if you hold on, well, hopefully I can.
Becky, I can share mine.
Oh, that'd be great. If you go to about.
I've already got it.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Lori. I appreciate it. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see how easy it is to use, add an event, and some of the events that are already being featured there. So please take advantage of it. It's free to anybody that wants to use it. You know, Rodney talked about story ideas and stuff from people from, you know, local nonprofits and stuff like that. Like I said before, we're more long form and solutions journalism oriented. So we're always interested in a really unique, interesting story in the areas of, you know, like social justice, the arts. Of course, Henry knows about that. He's talked to one of our new arts reporters recently. And also we have a underwriting partnership with Margi-son, where we do a series of articles, interviews, and book reviews with Margi-son as our sponsor. So we do have those kind of things going on. And, you know, we also look at environmental issues, those kind of things. We also have a new series coming up called Deep Dive, and we're doing that in collaboration with WFHB, which will take a really deep dive into some various issues. For instance, the housing issue, the opioid settlement monies, and power outages, and community justice reform, and along with some others. It's a 10-month series that we're doing in collaboration with WFHB. They'll do a podcast series in conjunction with the article series. So we're pretty excited about it. We were just awarded a grant from the Community Foundation to do that series. So does anybody have any questions, or I hope that sums it up pretty good.
What was the URL again? The address, the website?
Dina, it's in the chat.
Oh, it is. Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
For their the main site as well as the calendar.
Oh, thank you. And please subscribe if you're interested in our magazine. We'd love to have you. So.
Okay, thank you, Becky. Very interesting. All 5 of you have been so interesting. And I will tell you a little bit about the Herald Times. I'm not on staff. I never have been. I'm a freelance journalist, and I do write for the Herald Times. And I hope I am happy to answer questions you might have. I just want to preface it with this, that about 2,200 local newspapers across America have closed. So we are so lucky to still have a newspaper. And the Herald Times goal is to have a newspaper 10 years from now. So many, many things have changed, I know. Journalists in general fell by more than half between 2008 and 2020. The Herald Times just doesn't have the staff to do a calendar anymore. The person who used to do the calendar has moved up the ladder at USA Today. The calendar is extremely labor intensive because it's a newspaper. So the style has to be right. We use AP style, and people go, well, so what? Well, the one reason that anybody uses consistent style is to make it easy for the reader. And that's what the Herald Times is interested in, is value to their readers. And the readers are 50,000 Monroe County residents. So your story has to have a broad appeal in order to get into the Herald Times, because we are trying to satisfy 50,000 people in the whole county. For instance, I'm in a play coming up in a couple of months. How many people are going to be interested in a play that I'm in? Maybe 200 or 300. Well, if I'm lucky, that's nowhere near $50,000. I would love, as Rodney said, everybody thinks that their project moves the world. And, we're all guilty of that, especially myself. When I do something, I want everyone to know about it. But we have to give value to a whole lot of people who, many of whom really aren't interested in the arts. And oddly, many of whom aren't all that interested in IU Jacobs, which still to me seems so strange, but it's what people are interested in and how we can add value. The articles for the Herald Times need to provide readers with something that they can use, some kind of information that's important to them that they can use in their lives. Any comments? Dart throwing.
I enjoyed your performance in the importance of being earnest.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
So Connie, I understand you're doing just one article a week now for the Herald Times. Is that
Well,
right?
kind of, because all the freelancers got suspended suddenly out of the complete blue in November. It was so unexpected. And so immediately I got involved in other things, like I think the very next day. So then after the new year started, they asked me to come back, but I had been writing 3 to 4 articles a week for the Herald Times, and that's a lot. So at this point, I can't do that. I said I could do 1, but now, of course, I'm doing more because it's just, there's so much here to do, and there's so much that deserves mention. So it just depends on how crazy I become.
And we've added the blog.
Yeah, the blog. One thing, my husband came up with a good idea. The Herald Times has 2 things. One you know about, it's the Thursday column that I used to do that now my editor Carol does. It comes out every Thursday. It's things to do. And they cover like 5 to 8 things. There again, it's got to have somewhat of a broad appeal, but my husband had a good idea. There's also a volunteer, there's a volunteer column. It came out today. It was in today's paper. Page 2. And if you can use volunteers in some of your projects, say Babette Ballinger's fabulous paint out last year, then perhaps you can avail yourself of the volunteers column. I just, that was a clever way to get in there, maybe, hopefully.
Buy an ad.
Or buy an ad. I mean, let's support the Herald Times so that they can continue to support us. In fact, I will tell my famous story. Some people have sent me really, really angry emails over the years that I didn't either write enough about them or that I didn't write enough about them. So, Sandra Freund, who is the director of Sing for Joy, the community choir, she was disappointed that we just weren't able to do as much free publicity on Sing for Joy as we had in the past. So I said, Sandra, how about taking out an ad? So you know what Sandra did? She bought 6 ads. And they sold out. Their performance with Sylvia McNair was, I think, like hundreds of people. Any comments or questions?
That's great. It's wonderful.
Good story.
Yeah.
Well, Connie, one thing I've noticed, and you said that there is so much going on in Bloomington, which there is. The problem is sorting through it because there's just individual events that happen, which are pretty easy to handle publishing wise. But then you end up with recurring events, such as an opera or any performance where there's performances on 6 or 7 days. And then they'd like to see their post appear in the week that the second event's happening or the third event. So then we've got to sort through that, and it's hard to make it exciting because it's the same thing. You don't want to just post the same thing all the time. Now you've got with the Limestone Post, you have, and also in and Rodney, you're doing it. You're telling the whole story. You're wrapping a story around the whole thing to try to pull people in for interest. And it's difficult to sort through what you should write a story about and what you should just post just a picture on. So it's just really not all the venues make that easy to do, other than you just keep doing them over and over and over again and say, this is the second post on that. This is the third post. so it's we have a difficult job in sorting through. Now, Rodney, imagine in yours, if they just got one event and you don't have anything to write about them, does yours just have a small portion of a page somewhere in the Bloom magazine? That
so at a minimum, our stories are about 375 words, which is one story, one page with an ad or two on the page. Sometimes they get cut down to maybe 350 or something like that. But unless it's the artist feature runs a page and a half. Every now and then we'll run something else that runs a couple of, across a page and a half or a couple of pages, not counting our feature stories that are in the back of the book. But just the front of the book, arts and entertainment section stuff, it's one story. And it's always, with very, very little exception, it's always something that's happening in advance of something happening. We get a lot of requests for, this is happening, would you cover it, and then write a story about it. But by the time we come out, it's a 2-month-old event, and nobody really, the best thing to do is for us to promote something in advance rather than tell a story about it having happened in the past.
Yeah. The pipeline, as I see all the stuff going through, I think the Maya opera was the one that was the most difficult to unpack, because there was a combination of live streaming from Mexico and also events going on in Bloomington. And that was just a difficult thing. You almost needed to have an article on each day as to where, like, Bloomington North was hosting some things, and there was just things going on all over town. It was sort of like Lotus, that variety. Mm-hmm. And so there are some things that are just really time intensive to promote. And sometimes I don't feel like we do them justice, but it would take a lot of time for both Alison and our other crew to be able to unpack all of it.
I have something to add on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. So I was thinking about what you said, and one of the important thing is how artists themselves and the organizers can provide us with the information that we need. For example, if it's a 3-day, 4-day, or maybe 1 month cut into 4 weekends event, maybe there's something different in each time that is happening. So the artist or the organization can provide us with the like introductory text or something visual to explain the difference, so that when we post it on our calendar, it's going to look different. And also it comes as a series. Maybe we can have it numbered up so that it looks different. This is something that we've trying to do on our calendar sometimes when we have a series of events. So artists give us a lot of information so that we can work with, so that we can make it more interesting.
I think that in my experience in working with artists, one of the most difficult things they have to do is marketing their own work. I mean, nobody teaches artists really. There's no class, there's no marketing class that they can go to learn how to market their work. And I always thought that was really an important thing for them to do and for them to learn. So when you talk about like sharing information and sharing photos or whatever, it helps for artists to know what you actually need in order to market their work, in a particular event or whatever.
A good topic for a blog.
There you go.
I can also.
I want to just toss out there that we also on our website have an arts directory, which has a lot of room to grow, and we would like to see that in the new website one day. But artists do, they're introverts, whatever, marketing is not their thing. And we have so many beautiful artists in this town, musicians out the wazoo. We just need them. It would be fun to find them all in one place.
Yeah. Can I just mention that we are planning 2 workshops this spring. One is entrepreneurialism. Alan Barker is coordinating that, on how an artist can become an entrepreneur. And the second one is that Kendall Reeves is doing a short workshop on how to photograph your art. So that we also recognize that artists are sometimes the worst advocates for their own work.
Yeah. I have a good resource for you if you need an artist who's exceedingly good at marketing his work. If you want a name, he's in Indianapolis, but he's really, really good at it.
Sure.
And I can share it with you.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, now, thank you, one and all. Do I hand this over to someone else?
Hand it over to Joanne.
Yeah.
Joanne, go for it.
Yeah, just hold the mic and drop it.
I can't hear you, Joanne.
You're muted. There you go.
Glad you made it. Everyone made it. It seems like, I don't know if there's more than 20 people here, because we are the people that are doing the promoting. There's so many organizations in Bloomington. So hope the message gets out. There's a number of different Facebook pages that have been kind of popping up lately too. So I'm spacing what I was going to say.
Can I just then interject that I think Arts Forward needs your energy, and we need more people's energy. That I think originally, as I understand it, it was run by Gabe and various other people whose focus was to advocate for the arts, and the result was Constellation and Waldron and all of that. But I think this organization needs some rebirth, and so we need to talk it up and share this. Before we close today, I'd like to have Dina tell us a little bit about our next Zoom meeting.
Before we do that, we actually have a question.
Okay.
Mike, if you want to go ahead and ask your question.
Well, yeah, I actually was asked by Bob Appelman to be here tonight to present about Visit Bloomington and our calendar for.
Please do.
So,
thank you.
Yeah. Do that. Is it my turn?
It is. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much, Mike.
Happy to do that. Great to be here and hear everybody about all the stuff that you're doing. And I've been having this conversation about multiple event calendars promoting the arts and all kinds of events in Bloomington for decades. And so I don't know if there's a real solution to the one streamlined place to do all of that, because obviously for many of us marketers, it's in our best interest to have traffic on our websites. We make money from that, and we deliver, it's kind of the reason many of us exist. And I don't want to bore you with Visit Bloomington, all about Visit Bloomington and what we do, but most of you are familiar with us. We promote Monroe County to visitors of all types. We want them to come here and enjoy the community and get to know people and have those great experiences, and obviously spend money and all of that. And the greatest thing is they leave and then they go and they tell everybody about how a great time they had. They're our best marketing, our best word of mouth, that's the word of mouth marketing. And so again, the arts is a huge component of that for us. Outdoor recreation, culinary, the arts, business travel, those are the big, Indiana universities, our Disney World, and everything that comes with that is all about what we're doing here at Visit Bloomington, how we promote to the area. 2022 was a record year for tourism in the market, both in the terms of visitation, visitors coming to the market to experience sporting events and arts events and conventions and meetings and all that kind of stuff. Both in the terms of sheer number of people and in the dollars that they spent. So again, a lot of that goes to the work you all are doing, and we appreciate you all for your partnerships on that. But like I said, the arts is a huge component for what we do and a draw for this region, and very excited about the Waldron activities. And I've got a meeting coming up with Henry in a couple of weeks, and we're involved in a big Bloomington area music initiative where we're trying to grow the music industry as far as jobs and Bloomington's already fantastic reputation as a music destination, all led by, you know, the great Jacob School of Music and all that they do to set the table for that. But yeah, we have an events calendar at visitbloomington.com. 2022, we had over 800,000 people use our calendar, 1.2 million user sessions on there for about 2 minutes each person. But we had actually over 120,000 people use our events calendar to search for events on there. We get about 10 to 15,000 people a month on there looking for just arts events, food, lodging, our blog. We created 133 blogs in 2022. I think about 40 of them were related to arts-related events. Our homepage, outdoor recreation, those are the things that are going on there that people are looking for. But just, you know, it's visitbloomington.com is our website. /events, you can see the events page. The events page is a key tab right on there. If you click on that, you can see it. You'll see all the pull down menus. You can submit your own, just like what we've seen here today on our page. You can submit your own event right to it. It goes into a queue. I have a person who checks that multiple times a week. We are pretty liberal and put almost everything on there that we think could possibly be a draw for an event. You know, we're not putting political speeches or when it comes to events, we try to be really aggressive and put anything on there that we think could draw visitors to the area. We try to work with everybody and support everybody. Obviously, if it's an activity that's questionable and not legal, or like I said, is a political rally or just something that makes no sense for what we're all about, we're not going to put that up there. But your art events are going to get up there for sure. And so we invite and are always trying to promote that kind of to get artists and people that are doing events like you're doing your workshops and things like that. Put them on there. We're happy to promote that. We send out a couple of e-newsletters a month to over 30,000 subscribers that get that stuff and highlighting different things. Again, it's just in our best interest to make that the best it can possibly be and to have the best information from you all on there. And we welcome that, and we welcome your input and participation in helping us do that. But again, we're always going to have it on our site. It's always going to be at visitbloomington.com. We're happy to share that link with you all. We're happy to, again, remind you to have your people put their events on our site. But again, we need that traffic on our site.
Yeah, Mike, you do a great job. And I have to say, I have used you every single week when I used to do the things to do column for the HT.
Great. That's what we want.
The first place I went.
Use our site to get their own content. I mean, I got people I'm paying I've got a content developer that's a full-time job. That's all she does is create that blog and content for our website and get us photography and all that type of stuff. So anything we can do to tag with you all and cross promote through social media, as long as it makes sense for what we're doing, that's what we're here to do. And I apologize to anybody that we haven't done a good job of communicating with. Make sure I put my email in the chat here. You can just send me an email and I'm happy to add you to our distribution list. You can also make sure I spelled it right. The older I get, the harder it is. You can, there's some of that space, but you can even sign up for our e-newsletters right on the homepage at visitbloomington.com to get some of that information. But
while Mike was speaking, I went ahead and, sorry, while you were speaking, I put in the visitbloomington.com link, the link to the events page, and the link to submitting the events.
Right.
And then also their Facebook page.
Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not for sure. I wish that I had a person who could call everybody, every artist or anybody who's doing an event every week and get them to give us their information. It seems that, and the problem with it all is that turnover, as soon as we get a group that realize, oh yeah, we can put our events there, somebody changes, or, same thing with hotels for us and working with hotels or restaurants or anybody. It's just always keeping them up to date on what we're trying to do and where they can most easily give us the information to help them promote whatever it might be attractive to potential visitors coming to our area. But like I said, nothing is more important to tourism than the arts and all the components of the arts in our community, and such a big draw and such a great market and a great visitor. There's no better visitor to Bloomington than somebody who's coming here for an arts event, because they like to go out to eat, and they like to obviously go to those galleries and buy and shop retail, and you know, and again, they leave and tell all their friends and family members, and they're big influencers for us. They love to post about it, their experiences on social media, which is great. So
that's very helpful, Mike. What kind of lead time do you normally expect when someone's looking around? Like a week or every week?
When somebody is planning a trip, or when somebody wants to share their event with us?
Well, when someone wants to share their event, I mean, how soon do we need to be putting it up online for you?
Well, obviously it's to your advantage to get it to us as far in advance as possible. We have a grant program. I'll talk about that in a second. But you know, we're doing our e-newsletters a month or so in advance. So you know, and the sooner you get that to us, the longer it's on our website and people have a chance to be exposed to it. But like I said, we're checking that almost daily, or if not 3 or 4 times a week. And my person who does that, she'll load it right away, and it can take 24 hours for it to cycle through and get loaded. So you really might be able to have something on within a matter of days. But if it's a day before your event, it's not going to get very much exposure.
Okay.
So really, we really love it when people are putting things on there 2-3 months in advance, because it gives us time to find it and make sure, wow, well, that works well with Valentine's Day. And so we're putting a Valentine's Day blog together, or we're promoting Valentine's Day events that we're pitching to Indianapolis TV stations to do pieces about us or stuff like that. So just that type of stuff. And you're never bugging me by sending me a personal email that says, hey, I just put my event up, or we've got this going on. Well, again, I love to hear that type of stuff. But yeah, and we do have an event. If you go to, I'll put the link myself in. This is a link to our tourism marketing grant program. So we actually will help events, and it doesn't have to be an art event, but we love the art events. We used to fund Art Fair on the Square, or every year would get a few $1,000s from us to promote their event outside of Monroe County. Again, that's what we're about. We want visitors coming from outside of Monroe County, from Indianapolis, Evansville, Louisville, Cincinnati, Chicago. Those are our big target markets. We want people coming from there to attend the Boogie Woogie Festival and stay overnight for it, or you know, the Handmade Market. Do you guys know the Handmade Market is the most attended event, the largest attended event ever in the history of the Monroe Convention Center last November? Most people ever came there for events. It's an art event. That's why we need more space there, people. We need more space just so we can do more events like that. We have the opportunity here in Bloomington to do that. We just have more space for it. Art events, love it.
That's great.
But yeah, if you click on that, there's guidelines there, and I'm working right now with several music events. I was emailing with Talia today about their grant for the June event and stuff like that. Talia at Gather and Oak, who does the Handmade Market. So
when are those grants due? I know I can click on it.
So
but
we used to do. We hope that we just simplified it for 2023. We actually made it on a revolving quarterly basis.
Okay.
So you can actually submit your grant the quarter previous to when it is. Now, again, the further in advance you submit it, the further in advance you can plan and use those dollars.
Right.
But we will fund something right up to the quarter previous to when it starts. And also it's competitive. So we'll probably run out of money in that program. So if your event isn't until fourth quarter, it's good for you to get it in earlier as well, earlier in the year as well. So you'll guarantee your money, but we haven't ran into that yet. Thanks again. You've got my email address, and like I said, I'm always happy to communicate with you all. And
well, thanks for jumping in there and giving us the scoop.
Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Okay, well,
so we have now. Sorry, Dina, go ahead.
Oh, well, I think we're running a little over time. We need to go. So, yeah.
So it is now 6:35. Thank you all so much for taking part in today and asking great questions. This recording will be available, and I'm sure Joanne will push it out. So thank you all very much. Have a lovely evening.
The next event is April 12th.
April 12th.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.